Hello, my name's Keith Bryan, Master Saddler. This is the Saddle Devil, saddle adjusting machine. These are all the component parts. The video that you're going to watch will show you how the component parts work. The next one is how to actually widen the saddle, and the next one after that, the third part, will be how to narrow the saddle. Okay, this is the Saddle Devil and how to operate it. It's quite simple. You have a short ram for widening the saddle. You have a long ram for narrowing the saddle. When you're not using one of the rams, it fits out of the way. Now this one is going to be for widening, so we'll approach this one first. What you do, this is a locking screw for the jack. And when you turn it clockwise, then you can pump the jack and it goes up and down, like so. When you undo it, you can press it back down. Now in the centre there's a screw. This screw gives lift to the rams. And inside the ram, you can see that fits over the top. And it must locate slightly over the silver part. Once you've done that, then you can tighten up the screw on the jack, put the handle in the pump, and this is when we put the saddle in to actually widen the saddle. It fits in upside down. And then we pump, you can see it moves up. And they push it against the rolls, the saddle does, and it widens it. Now to get this, to change this over to the other one, the ram that narrows it, and you push it back down, take it off, and you take out the longer ram and you put the small ram back in the top. Inside there's a step again, and that must fit over the top. What you can do is you screw the screw out until you think you've got the right height, and you put it on. Now as you can see, that's incorrect because it's not over the silver part. So screw the screw down until this settles over the silver part. Tighten the screw up on the jack, and then you can pump the mechanism. It goes up. You'll see there's quite a bit of movement in that. Don't be alarmed. This is necessary because the rollers fit on the outside of the saddle. The ram fits on the inside of the saddle, and it finds its own central position. And the more you pump it, the more pressure goes on it and narrows the saddle. When you've finished again, you undo the screw, take off the ram and press it down for the next operation that you might want to do. Now this is how to widen the saddle. We've actually showed before how to adjust the jack and the rams for the different jobs, and now we're going to do it. Put the ram on, it's not fitting properly again, like we said before. Screw the screw down until it locates properly. Tighten up the screw there and put the handle in the jack and just make sure it works as it does. Then you take a saddle, and this is how to actually widen the saddle. You can, if you want, on top of these rams is felt. It's quite soft, but if you want, you can add some more felt or some carpet or whatever you feel, just for extra protection. Then you lay the saddle on upside down, and then you pump the jack, and the saddle's moving up. Another thing to remember as well is the saddle has to be pushed forward, not backwards like this. It has to be forwards. Then you take out these paddles and you put one there, one on each side of the roller. Make it as level as you possibly can. I put a small amount of Tipex in the middle of mine just to show you where the centre is. Then you just keep on pumping the jack. Keep on watching all the time. Make sure that everything's as level as you think and as far forward as you can get the saddle. And then what you do then is you keep on pumping and pumping and pumping and pumping, and slowly it pushes the saddle out. You can actually turn the saddle round and you can see from this side how it will do it. I've actually put my saddle devil on a piece of wood so you can take it out in a car or you can keep it on the workbench. When you've got the desired amount of width widening, then you can release the saddle, release the jack, push it down, take out the pads, take that off. And that's how you actually widen the saddle. But if you look at this, the way I say about keeping the saddle forward is if you bring the saddle back this way, it's not really over the top of the ram, and you'll put a lot of strain on the machine itself, and you can actually break the machine. Keep it forward. That's the most sensible thing to do. Now, we've shown how to widen the saddle. Now this is how to narrow the saddle. So you take off the small ram, the widening ram, replace it with a longer ram. If you remember on part 1, we adjust this screw up until this is fitting properly. That's wrong again, so just screw it back down a little bit until it's fitting securely over there. Tighten the ram up, the jack up, sorry, and put the handle in. Same applies again. You place the saddle in this way this time, and then you pump the jack whilst holding the saddle, and you can see it coming up. If you want, you can then introduce whatever protection you want to put on there, as long as it's not too thick, as long as it protects. These will actually do it without that, but it always helps to put as much on as you can. So what we do then is put the pads over the top of the saddle, like so. Make sure everything's nice and level. Give it a few more pumps of the jack to lift it up with no pressure, just so you can make sure everything is dead level. And also it helps if you lift the saddle just a little bit, and then you pump the jack, and you can see now what it's doing. It's pressing, it's bending the saddle tree inside over the ram, and it brings the saddle in this way. You see what I mean this way? Again, from there you can actually see that. You can actually as well, you can actually work, once it's in the position, you can actually do it from this side as well, so you can actually see it moving in if you have a template or whatever. And what you must remember though, this machine's designed just for small amounts of adjustments. You could destroy a saddle with this if you want to, but it's only for small amounts. And another thing you can do as well, if you've got a stable base for your saddle devil with the saddle in, if you find a saddle that's twisted, you can lock it in and you can actually twist it back either way, because it's quite strong and you actually feel it straighten the tree up. And when you're finished with getting the width you want, undo the jack again, bring the saddle down, put the pads away, take the saddle off, and you'll have a different width fitting.